Let's discuss expense tracking in standard time. The first thing I'll draw your attention to is this little triangle on the timesheet. If you click that, you can choose Expense Sheet, and then you can open up a project. You see all the projects that are assigned to you here. Open one up, and then you will see any expense templates that have been created. In this case, there are two of them. You can enter a quantity of the items that you purchased. In this case, 14 and 1, and then 10 and 1. And those expense amounts then are totaled at the project level. We actually have a video that discusses expense templates, so I wanted to look into a completely different subject, which is adding expenses on a one-by-one basis. So I'm going to close this. I'll refer you to the expense templates video if you'd like to learn more about that. What I'm going to talk about now is clicking on the Expenses tab and then going up to the Insert menu and then choosing New Expense. Now this is going to allow us to create one single expense. This does not use an expense template. The first field here is the most important. That's the amount. So if you're adding an expense for something that you've purchased, you can then enter in the amount there. If you happen to be doing mileage, you can leave this blank and then type in your odometer, begin and end, or just the distance. So if you drove, let's say, 126 miles, the mileage rate will be here, so you can change that, and then it will do the math and put in the amount for you. You can then type in who you paid this to, a little description. So this is driving. Then you would put the date in, go in and choose a date. If you had a multi-day trip, you can put an end date in. You are then able to choose a bank if you charged this against a certain credit card or bank. You can also choose an account. Some of these are required if you send the expense records over to QuickBooks. If you simply wrote a check, you can write that. This turns out to be a mileage. You can also set up trips. So if you had a certain trip, you could choose a trip from the drop down. That way you can view all of your expenses grouped by the trip. Let's just open up some of this information. Here, you're then able to choose a certain project. Now that basically assigns this record to that project and client. You can also choose a sub-project if you like. If you happen to have done this for a certain sub-project. The category is just the type of work you did, so you can put a category in there. The users field really just has the owner, so administrators can change this if they like. If they want to put time or expenses in for other users, they can do that. Let's open up the extra section. Now you can tell whether this is billable to the client. If you're doing work for clients and pass along expenses to clients, this will show up on the invoice if it's marked as billable. Then once it goes on to the invoice, you'll see that this changes to billed. Now if it's reimbursable to you, in other words you paid for this, you can mark that. That'll come out on reporting so that you'll be able to see what is reimbursable to you, and then you can mark this as being reimbursed. Generally speaking, the administrators would do that. If it's paid by the company, you can mark that, and if it's a company paid item that is personal to you, so if you went out, bought a t-shirt while you were out on a trip, but the company paid for it, then that would be subtracted from the reimbursable items. There are some text fields that you can fill in, and there are attachments. Generally speaking, people use the attachments for receipts. You can put in PDF documents or Word documents or a JPEG or GIF images to represent the receipts that you had. So that's generally all you have to do. click Save and Close, and then that will go into the list. You can then go over to the report section and run an expense report. You can run one by mileage or by the type, by client. There's various ways to cut up these reports. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of more information about how to enter expenses, both discretely one at a time or with the timesheet and the expense sheet.